Welcome back to the Artefactors Union. I'm your host and foreman, Douglas Scoundrels. And today we're assembling the Lucas McCabe core box. I have the second edition version of the box here, however, it's the same exact models. If you look it up now, it'll just be McCabe core box or Lucas McCabe core box, one of those two. Box contains 7 models, 2 versions of our titular hero, Lucas McCabe, his totem, a doggo, henchman, and 3 minions, but that is our artwork. Is Luna on here? Here's Luna. The good girl. Alright. Renders on the back. Got Lucas on a horse, Lucas not on a horse, Luna, Sadir, and 3, they are now Ruffians, because Wastrel is McCabe's keyword. Alright, so we'll go ahead and start with McCabe, and then do his dismounted version. Luna and Sadir, those are all on the same instructions artwork, and then the 3 Ruffians are on their own. So, let's look at our sprue. Okay, a couple things. One, this is a pretty old sprue. If you'd see the frame, hasn't been that round shape for a long time. But also, all of them fit onto one, which is pretty impressive. That also probably means that they're not going to be that difficult to put together. Knock on wood. Alright, last thing is that they are lettered, which actually helps you finding pieces to different people, I believe. Also, I am missing a piece here, but thankfully that came in a little plastic bag inside of the box. So, let me identify all of our horse pieces first and get started. While I do that, look at the instructions. Okay, we will start on the horse and work our way up. So we got the 2 halves of the horse, the head and the tail. And then after that, we'll go ahead and do both of McCabe's legs, which are up here. You can see them with the lovely stirrups. And then we'll grab his torso, which is somewhere on here. Here we go. I'm looking at the letter B, by the way, for this mini. Then we can do the right arm and the left arm and his head, which would have to be this one then. And we're done with our first McCabe. So let's cut out the 2 halves of the horse first, B8 and B9. So looking at this, you can see that the sort of socket for the tail means that we're not going to be able to put the tail in if we combine the 2 halves of the horse first. So we'll go ahead and add the tail, which is B10. We'll also add the head, which is B7, might as well, before we combine the other side of the horse. So grab those bits. Okay, change my mind. We are just going to insert the tail on the left side of the horse because it's just a little bit deeper of a connection, and we'll tell you more accurately how the tail is supposed to be positioned. If you misposition it wrong, there's going to be a big old gap in the seam when you do the 2 halves. And also the horse head is going to fit on better if we have both of the halves together. So glue this to this piece, and then we'll add the other half of the horse. There we go, like so. Okay, now let's add the head. The head is going to be pointing to the horse's right or left, so, that direction. Okay, we have one whole completed horse. We can get started on the McCabe on top of the horse. I'm going to say B5 is going to be our left leg, and then B6 is going to be our right leg. Oh, looks like at some point I got fingernail thumbprints on here. I am sorry. Anyways, B5 is going to slot in here. Same with B6, the other leg. And he'll be standing up in the saddle, so you won't be touching this. However, the leg will be connected here, so that's another point of contact. There we go. The connection's still pretty loosey-goosey, so we're going to quickly come over here and add the other one so we can mash the 2 halves of the pelvis together. And then that should be pretty solid. So, again, the stirrup goes in here, and then the leg glues right there. Okay. Other leg is done. Now let's grab the torso and remind myself which bit that is. B2, up here in the corner, which has that nice tooth on it, which will glue into this divot in the pelvis. Let's add it. Okay, that was a little bit of fiddling just because everything's just kind of loose. And I also had to re-glue it because I didn't have enough on there in the first place. But being able to squish the two legs together while jamming the torso on there is how I got it to look pretty good like that. But let's hurry up, though, because we need to connect this right arm to the horse head, and so if the torso is out of position, we can still correct it before it's cured fully. So B2 is going to be the arm holding the gun plus the reins. Okay, this is likely the hardest connection you have to make in this entire box, and it's really just lining the reins up with not the bit, but whatever these dangly things on the horse are. I've been fiddling with them for a long time, trying to get them to at least cure in a decent spot. I think as long as you put them somewhere along here, it's good. It'll be fine. And also just make sure that the arm has a pretty small seam. But yeah, just a lot of fiddling, and it'll work. Let me see if I can push this guy back. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started on the left arm, sorry, which is B4. Alright, there's the left arm, seam on both sides. Now we can just do B1 the head and call him good, or at least this version of him. And there we go, head on. Seam is fine. Let's get him on a base, he's done. Lucas McCabe, Relic Hunter, is done. Hardest part was easily the reins on the horse, getting those lined up, and making them stick. I think now would be a good time to use super glue, because that'll be a lot easier to get them to stay put. Just don't stick yourself to the model. Other than that, aligning the legs up with the torso and keeping them in a single piece was also slightly difficult, but not a hard model at all. Let's move on. Alright, next is our mounted version of McCabe. His body is going to be A3. We're working with the A-lettered bits in this case. A7 is going to be our leg. And then where is our whip on here? Here it is. A6 is going to be our right arm. And for our left arm, we have two options. One where he's holding a net gun like he does in his mounted version, which is going to be this one, A4. But we're going to be using A5, the saber, because that's what his artwork on his card has. So once we're done with both of his arms, we'll grab A2, which is his neckerchief, throw that onto his neck hole, and then do A1, the head, which I have bagged over here. Now, interestingly enough, there is an A8, which is a pistol. It is not in the instructions, but since it's labeled A, I'm relatively certain it's his. Once we're all done with him, if I can figure out where it's probably going to go, we can put it on him, but I would say that's definitely optional. So grab A3 first. Alright, here's our torso. Now let's add A7, the left leg. Okay, and you can see that hole right there. That's definitely where the gun is going to go. I don't think at this point they can update the instructions, but that's what you got me for. Let's grab A8 and plug it in right into that hole. Okay, there it goes. Solve that mystery. Let's do a 6, our right arm with the whip. Okay, that arm's in. He is whipping, definitely. Next, we'll grab A5, the left arm holding the saber, but at this point you could add A4, the arm holding the net gun instead, your choice. Okay, arms in place. Now let's do B2, our necktie, neckerchief, whatever, on his neck. Sorry, that's A2, not B2, and it is a necktie and the color of his shirt. Alright. A1, our head, and he's done. Okay. Angie face. Let's put on our base. Lucas McCabe, Dismounted Hunter, is done. And I love that title because it is mocking him who deserves to be mocked. He is just kind of a real jerk. But not like a bad guy. Just a jerk guy. Anyways, hardest part on this one was I guess the gun on his hip. That was just because it's a small piece, but it was really easy. Yeah, that's it. Let's move on to the goodest girl. Alright, on to the totem, Luna the doggo. Luna's got only 3 pieces, 2 halves of a body, and a head. So let's combine G2 and G3, along with G1. Left side of the dog with the tail. Add the other half of the dog, have a full dog body. Now we add the dog's head. Alright, the head will rotate fairly significantly, so you can really make the dog face the direction you want, as long as it's more to the left than to the right. But I couldn't find like a very, very solid one. Just kind of sort of tried to match the render a little bit. So let's get Luna on a base. Luna's done. She's a dog, 3 pieces. Easy peasy. Move on. Next up is Sadir, the henchman, and he has the unfortunate problem of having a last name that no one knows how it's supposed to be pronounced. I'm going to go with Alchibal. I just like saying that better than Alchibal, but internet really didn't help me finding the pronunciation, so we're just going to call him Sadir like everyone else and avoid that last name, like the plague. Alright, Sadir also only has 3 pieces. C1, C3, his left hand, and C4, his right arm, C2, his right arm, and machine gun. So we'll just do them in that order. Grab C1. Alright, here is his body. So now we're going to do C3, the left hand, which is going to be holding the sword, which is going to be going up the back of his left arm. He is not hiding that thing very well at all. Easy to put on, though. Now let's do C2, the right arm, and we're already done. Okay, right arm and machine gun in. All done. Let's get him on a base. He's a 40 mil. Sadir, he's 3 pieces. Easy peasy. Let's move on. Alright, our minions, the Ruffians, gonna be also pretty simple. I think this guy, our first one, is going to be the most complex, but let's quickly look at the instructions before we separate out the bits. We go in instruction order, so be doing the F Ruffian first with the pickaxe. He includes a leg and this arm holding a handkerchief, maybe, or a rag. And then come down here, and if the camera will focus, grab the head, F1, and add the bowler on top, F2, and he's done. Alright, here is F3, now do F5, the leg, which is going to glue right on here, go across his left leg. 3, cocky, pose, now let's grab F3, the left arm, holding the handkerchief. Alright, the bit is F4, not F3. There's our seam. You can definitely glue the back of the hand to the coat to give him a little bit more connection point. Anyways, let's do the head now, which is F1, I think? There we go. Fits on the next stump just fine. But let's do F2, our bowler hat, and call him good. Probably be helpful to show you how it's supposed to connect. If you look at the connection point that's not the peg, it matches this if we mirror it. So we'll just go and flip that upside down, and we'll fit like that on the head. Ta-da! Our first ruffian is done. We're going to call him Buckwheat. The hardest part for this was matching up the top of the hat to his head, because it was just a little weird. Other than that, super easy. Let's move on to our next ruffian. Our second ruffian is the letter E. There's only 4 bits. Got the body. There's E2, E3, the right arm, E4, the left arm, and E1, the head. So let's do that order. E2, the body, now E3, the right arm. There we go. The tooth and hole is a little wonky, so might need some smushing to get really on there, but let's do E4, the left arm. Yeah, there's the left arm. Easier than the right one. Now let's do E1, the head. There's the head. Alright. Base time. Oh, there we go. Actual picture. Ruffian number 2 is done. We're going to name this one Spanky. Right arm was the hardest part, but not by much, just because that tooth and hole situation was a little hard to squeeze it onto the body. But again, only 4 pieces. Not going to complain. Let's finish up with our last one. Last ruffian, 2 whole pieces. Alright, easy peasy. D1, and then D2, the 2 arms. And here's our body. Make sure to cut off this entire thing. There was actually not a connection point there. You just need to shave it all off. Now we're going to connect the arms. Don't forget the piece that connects right back here, which is the walking stick he is carrying. Okay, that's going to take a lot of squishing to get the shoulders to line up, but it'll get there. If for some reason it doesn't, I mean, dry fitting's good. Just you can trim off that connection piece that you can see right there. That goes into the back of the neck. Alright, he's all done. Waist roll number 3 is done. We're going to call this one Alfalfa. Only 2 pieces, so that's got to be the hardest part, but really squishing the one piece onto the body was more difficult than I was expecting it to be, so definitely dry fit this one. Let's look at the whole box. The McCabe core box is done. Box containing Lucas McCabe, Relic Hunter, Lucas McCabe, Dismounted Hunter, Luna, Sidir Alchibal, and 3 Ruffians. Super easy box. The exception really being the reins on the horse, but those aren't too important, I don't think, as in, like, if you just not have them, I don't think anyone's really going to notice. So, yeah, I'll call this box easy. And you get an extra model compared to most others, so all in all, really good. Yeah, that's all I have to say. So, I have been your foreman, Douglas Scoundrels, helping you build a better Malifaux. Take those relics, I guess?